All right, we'll bring this meeting to order, and we'll have Commissioner Ford do our prayer and pledge.
Lord, we come for you today. We ask you for your blessing on this meeting. Ask you for a blessing on this nation. And put your hand over us on this COVID and help us get this behind us. And all these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is our third and final budget workshop, I believe. Ben, do you have anything before we start?
No, sir. I have asked the other departments that are presenting to be here early today. So if we get through with them, we can go right through lunch again if that's what you desire to do. But Kevin is up first with the Public Works and Mosquito Control, correct? I'm sorry, Public Works and Utilities.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Kevin Kirby, and I serve as your Director of Public Works.
Hang on a second, Kevin. I messed up. All right, before we get started, I need a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved. Second.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Ford. I got a second by motion by Commissioner Nash, second by Commissioner Murphy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes. Okay, now you can go, Kevin.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning once again. Before I get started, Commissioners, I view this as a workshop versus a budget request. Obviously, we have COVID-19 and other issues. So what I'm presenting here this morning on behalf of Public Works is an ideal world. We know it's not an ideal world. With that being said, I provided 3 documents on top of your desk. The first is a weekly work order report. That is supplied on a weekly basis to management and on to you guys. Second is a monthly budget report. Once again, that is supplied to me from staff. We try to keep all our numbers straight. And the third is a capital project update, which is supplied to management on a monthly date and then passed on to you folks. Those are the 3 documents that try to keep me straight with all the numbers and all. So with that being said, I'll get started. So what is the mission statement of Public Works? Columbia County Public Works mission is design, build, and maintain an infrastructure of the highest quality, managed by a dedicated professional workforce and service to the community who are committed to excellence in customer service and satisfaction. This mission is accomplished through the prudent use of resources, technology, innovations, teamwork, and coordination with other service providers in the county, which will enable the government to adequately preserve these assets for succeeding generations. So what services do we provide? Road maintenance, drainage, stormwater, sign shop, traffic signals, fleet maintenance. That's technical difficulty. Okay, y'all ready? So what services do we provide? Mowing, tree crew, right-of-way maintenance, engineering, capital projects inclusive of road construction, site improvements, new improvements, and remodeling. What does it take to get this work done? Road maintenance, 18 employees, drainage, 10, stormwater, 9, sign shop, traffic signal, 3, fleet maintenance, 11, admin, 7, mowing, tree crew, 13, right-of-way maintenance, 12, engineering, 2, and 2 inmate crews, tad over 100 folks, make it all happen for us. So how do we get the money to do that? County gas tax, constitutional gas tax, local option sales tax, voted gas tax, fuel decal user fee, motor fuel tax rebate, state revenue sharing, fiscally constrained county, county sales tax, FDOT lighting reimbursement, culvert fees, interest, reimbursement from other county departments, recycling insurance claims, cash on hand, total revenue 1920, $10.5 million, 5.5 of that restricted, 5 unrestricted. I always like to remind the board, restricted revenues must be used for roads only. A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Pittman talked extensively about contract mowing.
Wait a minute. The restricted, is that SIG and Scotland's money we get from, is that other, that's nothing to do with that?
That's nothing to do with scrap, stop, sick pay. That's revenues from taxes.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Pittman talked about contract mowing, and he talked about the 234. So that money is financed via Public Works. It's administrated by Clint. It's important I mention this because as we go down the presentation, you're going to see where this is becoming more and more of a problem. Between this, your urban mowing crews, and your inmates, you're throwing right at $500,000 a year to picking up trash and mowing grass. It's going to get a little more important as we go along. Before I get started, line item by line item, all salaries and benefits are based on actual position and current rates of pay, including overtime and standby pay. Overtime is configured by the average of the past 4.5 years, including holiday time. On-call standby. We're going to talk quite a bit about this today. This is a recommendation that I'm making to this board. It was brought to my attention many years ago, but our new red light man, Joe, has really brought it to my attention. I'm going to try to get some detail. On-time standby for pay. Number of weeks an employee and or supervisor on call at a rate of $25 a day. The way it works today in Public Works, we have 7 supervisors. Every 7 days, they rotate that 365 number with nights, holidays, weekends. That's who we call nights, days, and holidays, weekends. They usually staff and they promise to answer the phone. It works pretty well. 1 guy from the sign shop, 2 guys from the tree crew. Why is that? Any storm, first thing happens, red lights, trees, okay? We're going to a utility budget in a little while. At the end of the day, for roughly $125 a day, you're guaranteed to have these men answer the phone. That is a recommendation on my part. So line item by line item. Here's your road maintenance. These are your grader guys. 1.2, 1.2, fairly neutral. I did make a note, principal will decrease and interest will increase based on current leases. What I'm referring to there is down your last 2 line items. Remember, we do a 4-3-4 motor grader lease. Your mainline motor graders, your 11 motor graders, those are the only items you lease. You purchase your other equipment. We've talked extensively about why we do that. If you look at 1920, 280 on principal, 18 on interest, 2021, 225 versus 72. When you line up 1920, it adds up to 300,000. I think we have $3,000. So does 2021, but it's just like any other banking deal. The interest is high on the front end. You bought at least 4 graders recently, so that number will change, but the bottom line payment will not. On to your drainage, 943 to 953 with a $10,000 increase. Road materials remain the same, but additional $10,000 for speed humps. As recent as this morning, constituents reached out to me as it relates to speed humps. Speed humps cost $800 a piece. that we historically put down around 3 per location. So when our constituents reach out to us for speed humps, that's a hard cost of $2,400 plus or minus. They are becoming more prevalent. On your stormwater crew, you're going from 425 to 415 with a $10,000 decrease. Signs, traffic signals, 390 to 480, significant increase. And why is that? Salary increase due to reclassification of sign shop tech 2 to traffic signal tech 1. So we were fortunate enough here a while back to acquire a traffic signal tech 2 named Joe Crackle. Joe has done a fantastic job thus far. We have a veteran employee, Jeff Campbell. He took the initiative to go and take some classes, take some tests. He has passed them successfully. We now have him as a traffic signal tech 1. So now we have 2 men that are capable to legally go in those red light cabinets. That employee is currently about $45,000 with benefits. I'm asking for him to be at $49,000 with benefits based on what he's accomplished thus far. Cellular communication to remote FDOT signals. This expense is $11,400, will be offset by additional increased reimbursement of $12,600 by FDOT. Today, FDOT gives us approximately $85,000 annually to assist with maintaining and operating the red lights. Okay? When you add that 12.6, roughly $100,000 will be on our side, but you got to pay for it up front. Operating supplies increase is required to bring current signal cabinets into compliance. So I'll stop there. Joe has educated me, Joe Crackle. Joe has educated me that we have currently got the need to purchase 3 cabinets. Those cabinets are worth approximately $10,000 a piece. He's also educated me on all the parts we need to upgrade our current cabinets. What else I've learned is you do not go to the Ford place to buy these parts. We need to have these parts on a shelf, red lights tear up, fix the cabinets. What we're trying to do is completely eliminate contractual work. So that's that side of it. And we just talked about the cellular communication. And what I understand about that, they can sit down on their laptop at night and literally adjust the red light and troubleshoot. So if we go back to the next slide, please. That's where your increases are. That's your helper with all this FICA and stuff, your communication services, we talked about with FDOT Help, and our operating supplies, your cabinets, and all your parts. Fleet maintenance at our shop, 848 to 738. Significant decrease. I would say that's 2 things. As Chief Crawford indicated the other day, we've got some nice technology really helping us be proactive on our maintenance of our equipment trucks. And thanks to this board for allowing us to move forward with modern equipment. Your stock room's holding the same at 503 versus 494. Administration. Administration 2.8 to 2.4. Now, why is that? I want to make sure we're not doing a slide of the shuffle game, if you may, later on in the utility budget in an effort to make that a standalone department in an effort of transparency. Today, the utility superintendent is completely funded via Public Works at $71,000. For professional services, so really that's not a savings, is what I'm trying to say. You're going to see that later on in utilities. Professional service increased by $32,000. So we have a little contamination issue out at Public Works from a former underground storage fuel tank. We're finally addressing. Our side of that's $32,000. DEP's helping us with the rest. Accident claims. I'm working with the county manager and Mr. Krause. We've got to do a better job with accident claims. 10,000 non-capital office supplies per accounting due to computer replacements being under 1,000. That's that 5,000 threshold capital versus non-capital. Per the equipment replacement policy, $635,000 is needed upcoming year. I'm saying 492, we can sure make do. Loader. We have 3 locations of public works. We have Lake City and 2 satellite locations, one at Ellisville and one at Fort White. The loader at Fort White is finished. My effort would be to take the existing shoulder cruise loader, replacing it down at Fort White because we don't use it every day, replacing shoulder cruise loader with this new loader. We need a pickup, tree crew needs a knuckle boom. This final item is a skid steer with a mulching head. Your tree crew currently runs 3 buzz bars and 1 saw blade. This saw blade, the limbs fall up down the road, is very laborious. I feel very comfortable we can grind them up on the side of the road and save that money at a high rate of speed. $492, 143 savings, that's good news. Here's the bad news. I need 2 pieces that are not currently in our fleet. We talked about Joe and the red lights. We got to have a bucket truck to work on red lights. $137,000. It's power broom. Several years ago, we created a shoulder crew. They work on our shoulders day in and day out. We have to sweep the travel lanes. We're currently using a skid steer with attachments, wearing out tracks. It's just not made to do it every day. This is an independent broom tractor. Those 2 total $200,000. So in reality, I'm $60,000 heavy per the equipment replacement plan because of the 2 new pieces of equipment. Right-of-way maintenance, $865 to $1 million. Why is that? This is what we were talking earlier about mowing grass and picking up litter. Contractual service, 3 inmate crews, 2 at public works, 1 at landscape. Urban mowing crew. At the end of the day, guys, then you have your contract mowing. We pick up litter 5 times a year, we mow grass 4 times a year. In the off season, even more frequent than the 5 times. Today, we do not pick up dirt road litter at all. I'm not saying we need to do this. I'm saying the answer demands 2 4-wheelers, pickup, utility trailer, a capital outlay of $41,000. Back on the other side, please. And you'll see your 2 men up there on your salary request. That's where your increase is coming from if this board so desires. On your shoulders, they're holding their own, $569 to $559. Miscellaneous. So these are your little small areas we do road striping. We have to keep the road striped at $100,000. This is your concrete contract, preparing concrete at $85,000. Road stabilization is another form of road materials, $165,000. Weed control at $55,405, holding its own. Commissioners, before I get started with this is 1920 capital improvement project. I'd like to say I'm very, very proud of the team that does this. Trust me, I just direct traffic. A lot of good folks involved in this. This is what we do when we need to do drainage projects, tear down the boys club, let's clean up some property for economic development, and a misarray of other things. So the clay for ball fields complete at $20,000. Deep creek roof and benches complete at $10,000. Winfield picnic pavilion complete at $25,000. Alligator Lake Frisbee complete at $26,500. Lulu Field upgrade complete at $40,000. Columbia City Picnic Pavilion near completion at $35,000. Fort White scoreboard complete at $11,000. Fort White parking lot complete at $200,000. Richardson Court resurfacing complete at $140,000. Cell 5 sand at the landfills ongoing at $112,000. Columbia City Park complete at $300,000. I want to apologize for the next one. On your information, I simply forgot to put the number in this. 5 o'clock on Friday. East Side Sewer Expansion under design at $10,200. Ellisville Sewer Expansion under design, $963. Lake Jeffrey Practice Fields complete at $80,000. Fort White Senior Center Landscaping complete at $5,000. Rum Island Bank Restoration under construction at $55,000. Rum Island Well complete at $23,000. Rum Island Restrooms substantially complete at $300,000. Richardson Sound System complete at $16,000. Richardson Covered Bus Stop complete at $30,000. Lifestyle Enrichment Center Generator complete at $31,000. Anti-Modox, that is on your agenda tonight for approval, $200,000. Watertown repairs complete at $10,000. Women's club complete at $56,000. Engineering office complete at $124,000. Landfill class 3 vertical expansion is in the permitting phase at $37,000. Intermodal Railsburg, once again, when I put this together, I was sideways, I guess. I did not include boat ramps on the side. It's $3.75 million. It is under construction. Bell Road is under construction at $6.8 million. Lake City Animal Shelter. We just received 95% plans. I'm going to guess on our side, $70,000 on our side. That is an approximate guess. The plans are not complete. Cannon Creek Drainage, we're buttoning that job up as we speak. It's $3 million. Clay holes prepared to go to bid within 6 weeks at $2.5 million. Harris Loop Drainage, we're prepared to mobilize on that in about 2 weeks at $21,000. Troy Road is complete at $109,000. Alpha Terrace, we will finish it up next week at $11,000. 241 is complete at $850,000. Mount Carmel Troy is scheduled to go to bid within 2 weeks at $1.19 million. Burley Road is substantially complete. Now that $15,000 along with the next two projects, that's actually supposed to come back to us. Burley Road and the next two, 252 and Wilson Springs, that's our engineering compensation. That is completely FDOT funded on their side. Wilson Springs and 252 will come out the next couple of years, and hopefully we'll get $5,000 back on our side for our efforts. The remaining of those roads are county funded under your annual resurfacing with October Road this fiscal year at $550. Wester, Finley, and Meadows, contract time has started. The contractor is not landed on the job. His time has started. Wester at $625, Finley at $410, Meadows at $170. Tabernacle this fiscal year at $40. Register Omar's on your docket tonight for $160,000. Jacksonville Loop's following up pretty close at $330. Mayo Road, we had our surveyors out there earlier this week. We finally got our surveyors on board. That's a dirt to pave conversion. We're going to try to start the survey on it immediately. Sparrow Road this fiscal year, dirt to pave conversion at $200,000. Lusty's coming out pretty quick at $125,000. Golf Club and Rowan with Jacksonville Loop at $85,000. Burley Road, we're going to kick it off this summer at $1 million. Cypress Lake, just got news that we have got our center line established. Engineers are in reviews. We're prepared to go to land acquisition in the immediate future. $2.7 million. 242 East is scheduled for the first quarter of 2021 at $500,000. 242 West is scheduled for the last quarter this year at $1.3 million. A tad of $39 million for capital projects. Obviously, the sewer plants, the bigger roads and all will bleed over if this board desires the next fiscal year. That was on the docket for 1920. Staff's done a darn good job completing most of what they've asked to do. So in summary, operating budget 1920, $9.265 million, 8.927 request. Then it's not part of the operating budget. But overall, 48,996, 531. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm subject to any questions.
Board?
Kevin, early on in the presentation, we had the amount of employees per department, per department. Out of them amount of, the 18 in road maintenance, what have you. How many of them are unfilled positions at this time?
Last I checked on Commissioner Murphy was roughly 10. And if I may elaborate, our inmate crews have still not returned on us, so that's a significant number. Those are 10 full-time employees, I guess, county employees. You roughly, I think it's 85 or 86 county employees. Then you throw I think it's 17 or 18 of the inmates, that puts you a little over 100 folks. But right now, if you count the inmate groups, we're down about 25, I guess you've got.
How long before we know how many of these projects not started will have to be carried? Which ones will have to be carried next year?
I can provide that. It'd be hard for me, I could have provided it today, probably.
Okay. Can you send that to us
Sure.
before we do the final budget?
Sure. And once again, Mr. Chairman, I consider this a workshop. Just here's the painted picture. I'm in full comprehension. You say, Kevin, we can't do that, but I
Darn, if he's that easy, we're just gonna go ahead and we can't do that.
Ty's choking.
Getting kind of soft in his old age.
Ty's cutting blood off his brain.
we always have a,
Anybody else? Okay.
okay,
I do have one more. I'm sorry, Kevin.
yes, sir.
Kevin, on the additional bucket truck,
Yes, sir.
that's just an addition where we'll have two accessible. Is that correct?
That's replacing a bucket
Or
truck.
is that replacing one?
No, sir. That's the slides. What I was telling you earlier, we have an equipment replacement policy. Hold on back, please. Okay. So here's our inventory of equipment. Per the policy, it says we need 635,000. Next slide. Here's what I'm wanting to replace for 492 with a 142 savings based on the equipment replacement policy. That's the good news. The bad news, these two pieces are not being replaced. These are new pieces, okay? The spider brooms quit wearing out our skid steer on the shoulder group. The bucket truck is a new addition. We got bucket trucks for our tree guys, they use them every day. This bucket truck, I'm trying to get out of the contractual business with red lights. It's terrible what they've been charging us.
Mm-hmm.
So with Joe Crackle, now Jeff Campbell, we have our own bucket truck. It's a capital outlay cost, but you will get that money back.
Yeah, what is that savings?
Of the contractual services.
Yes.
Back to sign shop contractual.
35.
35,000, but if y'all recall, it exceeded like, I think, over 6 digits before we hired Joe, if y'all remember that.
I thought it was over 100,000
It was.
last, yeah.
That, even though that's what we budgeted, it exceeded 6 digits is what prompted us to get the certified man.
The only reason I bring it up is that, I mean, have y'all looked at the used market such, I mean, the gentleman out here, Sister Welcome, you know, he sells 200-300 units a year. And I realize they're all used, but he's got some real nice stuff. This is,
No,
what's the thought?
This was just a budget number.
Gotcha.
Here's what the truck costs.
I would ask that at least we look at that avenue because, you know, your dad coming from the world he did, there's some good stuff out there that
Yes, sir.
goes on for years.
Yes, sir.
We are, Kevin, when are you going to start trying to address the side mowing? Bush cutters. We know we got a discrepancy and we got more bushes to cut than we got equipment and men to do it.
Mr. Williams, you and I have had this conversation. We currently got 3 brush cutters and a buzz saw. That's what I was talking about, the laborious effort of picking up the limbs, the mulch and the skid steer. And you're exactly right. And it goes back, we're throwing $500,000 at it, the roadside mowing, inclusive of the urban mowing crew and the inmate crews and the contract mowings. And you got the other side of the tree crew itself, what you're referring to. And I just need direction from the board. I would love to be able to put 2 brush cutters in every district, have 10 of them, but it all costs money. And I'm here to do whatever you guys ask me to do.
If you get the mulching head on the skid steer, how much time do you think that would save the crews rather than picking the limbs up? They're chipping them now, right?
No, sir. Yes, sir, you're correct.
Yeah.
So here's that new saw blade, technical term that y'all purchased. It's working great, and it goes at a great rate of speed. So what's happening though is sometimes in more congested areas, we have to do lane closures because it's right there next to the edge of pavement. We could keep that thing running all day with that skid steer right behind it. Right now, you put up a couple mile closure, you'll saw the limbs down, then you're held up before you get the organics cleaned up. It's just taking too long. But yes, sir, you're right. I don't know how to put the minutes to that. To
Yeah, I mean, it would be substantial time savings.
Yes, sir.
Anything else,
That's one of
board?
my big complaints when the, especially on dirt roads, and a lot of paved roads, when the limb grow in next to the road. It's dangerous for one thing, and then secondly, it's a very unpleasant sight. to have that much, many limbs growing next to your, right away on your roads. And some of them are so bad that when they mow them, they can't even mow. They have to pull out around them, they're laying in the ditches. They need trimming back, and I know that we need to start trying to address that. And Kevin is right. Every district could have their own mower in it and work 365 days a year and won't catch up.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anything else, board? All right, moving on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On to the utility budget. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. 5-year work plan. We got hung up. The 5-year work plan. The Public Works Department's main strategic goals for the next 5 years to deliver effective and cost-efficient level of service, be innovative in handling aging infrastructure, increase cost and increase demands on static revenues through improved efficiency, advanced techniques, and modernization, provide quality customer service in the days of instant access to information. Modernization communication with both internal and external customers is a must, as is the training and retaining skilled, diverse, and properly compensated workforce. Prepare for and promote economic recovery and growth in Columbia County. Be well positioned for the expected arrival of the economic recovery, which will increase the county population through streamlined regs and construction maintenance of public infrastructure. So as Commissioner Murphy would call it a wish list, an additional inmate crew to assist with the maintenance, urban mowing, and retention ponds that have added and will continue to be added. I'd love to build a barn to cover up our equipment, add a small repair crew, asphalt, not additional employees. Got 90% of the equipment. I'm not talking about mainline paving. We constituents reach out. We got a bad dip in the road. Right now, I run around, have to hire a guy. He charges $3,000-4,000 mobilization. It costs as much to go out there and lay $1,000 worth of asphalt. I can find a used paver somewhere. I think I have every other piece of equipment utilizing existing crews. We talked extensively about our sign shop, traffic signal department, Tech 2s, Tech 1s. We just talked about our bucket truck. And I really believe if we're getting in this, we need to get in it. And I think at some point, we need to build a red iron building and have all of our equipment shelved, our cabinets. Right now, we're getting kind of strung out where we're storing everything. With that, Mr. Chairman, that concludes Public Works.
Kevin, real quick before you go to the next, if you would forward us a report on the inmate contract that we got with the prison system, actually how many days we actually was able to utilize them last year. That be possible?
Yes, sir. What I will do for you, I will do all of 2019 and current up to date on 2020.
That's good. That's fine. Just looking for an average. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to utilities. What is our mission statement? Working safely and ethically, protecting the public, our employees, and the utility assets we manage in a reasonable manner. Providing quality service at a competitive price while being responsive to our owners' needs in an effort to add value and improve customer satisfaction. Maintaining financial integrity, minimizing our environmental impact, and supporting responsible economic development in our communities to ensure the long-term viability of the utility department and the communities we serve. Being well prepared for economic growth in service areas is a must. Supporting the development of technologies to promote the efficient use of our natural resources and utility infrastructure modernization. What do we do with our utility? Provide water and sewer services in the Ellisville area and Columbia County. Maintain one private system in Mason City. Currently 49 customers, both residential and commercial. Today, we have one utility superintendent. That was the $71,000 a year man that's currently under Public Works. I believe he needs a 2 reasons. This man, and God love him, cannot take vacation. I do have a contract tonight. Water plant, sewer plant breaks on Saturday night, Robert gets the phone call, okay? That's not reasonable in any business. When Robert is sick, we go hire a contractor. You'll see this in the lineup. So I am recommending one employee and transferring in an effort of transparency, Robert's salary be put over here in utilities. So basically your water plant's holding its own at $24,200. Here's your sewer plant, 66.5 versus 285, 256. So what is that? Salary and benefits are actual position and current rates of pay, including overtime and standby pay. This was one of the 5 positions, the $125 a day. One of these 2 men needs to be compensated to pull that 7-day-a-week call. This board's permission, if they support me with my ideas here, I'll be able to rotate those 2 men, 1 week off, 7 days at a time on call. 10,000 for fuel, 500 supplies. That's why when I said the decrease in public works is a little shuffleboarding, because today I want to take 10,000 for that fuel, 500 instead of going to the storeroom. I want it to stand alone where we know what we're doing. One could argue the $62,000 worth of capital. Today, that's the half-ton trucks for the new man, the 3/4 ton for the supervisor. Today is a public works truck. Look, I'm just painting a clear picture. Public Works will obviously donate that truck if capable to them. But you're looking at a $62,000 capital outlay, back on the salaries and all. So you got your 72 for your current man. I'm sorry, you've got the current man plus the new man, I'm thinking $10 and something out, that all that business adds up. And then you've got your operating supplies, that was your fuel and the storeroom. And then the equipment purchase is the 2 trucks. Once again, perfect world. Mesa City's holding its own at $900. 93,100 versus 285, 256, with the exception of the 62,000 capital outlay and the standby time of the 1 employee. It's just shuffling some numbers around. You're bringing in 121,304 on an average annual income, 424,564 for the last 3.5 years. So we are seeing a little money. What is our 5-year plan? Transition to a standalone utility with its growth in order to track incomes and expenditures more precisely. Improve both the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant in an effort to make remote monitoring, control, and reporting a more realistic, reliable, and useful tool. Continue to collect and map utility data in GIS format in order to utilize in planning and engineering, infrastructure improvements, and economic development. Continue to work with state agencies to locate and acquire grant funding in order to budget for future plant improvements and infrastructure expansions. Okay? It's a lot of numbers, a lot of things to consider. But that's the 8,000-foot view.
When you talk about this additional employee, what are you trying to hire somebody in with these classifications already in hand, or we talk about a?
No, sir. We're talking about an entry-level position that, with the understanding that he wants to learn utilities.
Right.
I mean, Commissioner, here's how it works today. Robert's a one-man show. And we all know how much a one-man can do. Public Works is called. What I'm trying to do with the utilities is make it transparent. I'm logging every time Public Works, how many men, how much equipment, if something breaks, what does it cost? Right now, we have one man. And it's just completely unreasonable to think that a man can't take a week off or go out of town once a year. Right now, we do that contract. He got put in the hospital for a couple of weeks once. Anyway, it was very cumbersome when he couldn't come to work.
Kevin, right now you're using a contractor, you said, when
Yes, sir.
you can't get him coming, when you don't have anybody on call?
Okay, the frequency that Robert has to go down there is more. Robert, for lack of a better word, he doesn't have a standard 8 to 5 job anymore. We are constantly doing something down there in weird hours. Yes, sir, we do have a contractor. We use him very minimally. Yeah.
So, what I'm getting at, is there a cost savings by adding a position?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think I can show it to you. Where's that number at? $40,000 on the contractual side. That's what's currently budgeted.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Ben?
Commissioner, next we have the Recreation Department, Mario Coppett. And I think his assistant's going to help him out with this.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for allowing me this accommodation. I have our brilliant and excellent office manager, Courtney Rowe, here to help, and Chad Owen. They're very computer literate, much more than I am, so all the credit goes to them as well as all the blame. Now, the IT department, that helped us with this presentation, so we'll let them take it from here.
Then we'll go in louder.
Multi-generational facility.
Patrick, I don't think that's going to work. We can't hear it. Ben, can we move on to the next one and come back while he works on that?
Yes, I don't know if we're gonna be able to fix that, have a solution for that unless, Patrick, what's the laptop right here at this microphone? Let's try that.
Do you have a portable mic for Mario?
So it's easier for me to, edit record.
It is here and ready to go, so if this doesn't work, then we'll move on.
Okay.
I'm gonna the rest of them while they're working on that.
Just don't worry.
Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity to present the Columbia County Recreation Department fiscal year 2021 budget request. In addition, I will provide a glimpse into my department, the programs, plans, and more important, the people that make it great. The Columbia County Recreation Department is a member of the Florida Recreation and Parks Association. The director is a Parks and Recreation professional certified by the National Park and Recreation Association. The mission of the Columbia County Recreation Department is to meet the community's need for diverse, affordable, professionally managed recreation programs for children and adults, while maintaining a safe and clean environment. At the Richardson Community Center, we pride ourselves on being a multicultural, multi-generational facility open 6 days a week, Mondays through Saturday. Here's a listing of the programs and services we provide. After school and summer STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math camp, community outreach program, health and wellness fair, fall festival, back to school book bag giveaway, community Easter egg hunt, the Landry Thompson Foundation Community Christmas, American Cancer Society Boots and Bat Charity Basketball Game, the Landry Thompson Foundation Youth Football Camp, the Winter Class Adult Football Tournament, the Goodwill Games Summer High School Basketball Tournament, and the Memorial Bowl Youth Football Tournament. Our department sponsors 3 athletic leagues, youth basketball, football, and adult pickleball. 2 excellent outdoor facilities are located at the complex, a youth playground and an outdoor facility complete with 3 regulation basketball courts, a tennis court, 3 pickleball courts, 4 four-square courts, 2 hopscotch courts, a water fountain, and male and female restrooms, all handicap accessible. We provide meeting space for the following community partner groups, organizations, and schools. We also serve as a background screening clearinghouse for youth sports organizations, an emergency storm shelter, and Old Precinct number 10. The RCCAMN, Richardson Community Center and Advisory Council, founded in March 2009, celebrated their 10th year anniversary last year. This group was the brainchild of former county manager Dale Williams, who directed me to put together a group of people who share a common interest in benefiting children and making the community a better place to live. During their existence, this board of dedicated individuals have contributed thousands of dollars, man and woman hours, to the Columbia County Recreation Department and its program. If I may, I would like to introduce the individual picture and not picture that make these impactful things happen. Front row, left to right, Joanne Ford, Llewellyn Thomas, Melinda Moses, Savella Young, Zach Falk is our president, Mario Coppock, recreation director, Pastor Leonard Johnson is vice president, Marcus Fisher. Back row, left to right, Dean Parkoon, Jeff Tyre, Pastor Alvin Baker, Nicole Callahan, secretary, Michael Crane, Marcus Boone Morgan, Don Lynch, Bob Denny, Mike Bell, and Jimmy Johnson. Not pictured are Brendan Johnson, treasurer, Pastor Philip Motley, and Marshall Bradley. In addition to the RCCAMN Board of Directors, these organizations and businesses are annual contributors to our program. Featured are our in-kind and reciprocal agreement partners. In the past fiscal year, major improvements have been made to the facility, such as renovating the outside basketball court to include tennis, pickleball, foursquare, and hopscotch, providing new handicap access to the outdoor courts, and adding additional play to the softball field. Other improvements include repairing drainage, improving the parking lot, completely renovating the cafeteria restroom, and updating the gymnasium sound system. This slide shows the attendance over a 3-year period. You may notice a slight decline in attendance from fiscal year 17-18 to 18-19. Daily attendance totals are not recorded on outdoor courts. Therefore, this attendance is not reflected. As you can see, the center is used quite a bit. We're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 306 days a year, averaging approximately 60 participants per day. The Columbia County Recreation Department has a staff of 7 people, 3 full-time, a director, an office manager, and a custodian. 4 part-time recreation aides, 3 who work full-time during the summer months, and 1 that opens the center on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Gentlemen, I'd like to bring your attention to the budget request for fiscal year 2021. I am sure we all realize that the coronavirus pandemic has brought a lot of uncertainty in all areas of federal, state, and local government. There may be some extreme belt tightening. Worst case scenario, the result is some cuts to some programs. Nevertheless, I want to remind you that in 2008, we suffered through a horrible recession, and Columbia County fared a lot better than most because of the leadership that prepared us for the unexpected. 2 individuals with us today were part of that historic leadership. Our current county manager, Ben Scott, and Commissioner Ron Lewis. We are counting on you and the current outstanding leadership team of Commissioners Nash, Murphy, Witt, and Ford to pull us through again. Now, if you will turn your attention to line items of my department. First, I'm requesting an increase in salary to move a part-time recreation aide into a full-time position. This is due to the increases in attendance and recreation programs. School is out approximately 100 days per year. Registration programs such as football, basketball, summer camps, and special events is typically taken on weekends. But this is conflicting with the work schedule of many parents. Having a full-time recreation aide will allow us to offer weekday registration and serve the community more efficiently. not make it any easier. I am requesting that the county fully fund the summer camp program so that the recreation department can continue providing the services our camps are accustomed to. Travel and training of employees. We are a member of the Florida Recreation and Parks Association, and as such, are required to attend periodic audit training sessions and classes to maintain certain levels of standards. For example, first aid, CPR, child abuse, and recreation policies and procedures. Most of these courses are not offered locally, therefore I am requesting a larger travel budget to cover these costs. As a community center, we receive numerous requests from citizens to provide Wi-Fi service. This service is necessary in order to provide school-sponsored academic programs during the school year and summer camp activities. Community meetings and held with gymnasium and conference rooms. This was not a budget item in previous years. Currently, the RCC AMN pays for Wi-Fi service at a monthly cost of approximately $320. With new additions to the outdoor course, I am requesting a $500 increase to the sports equipment budget. Over the past year, the recreation department has hired new staff members that require additional training. I am requesting more money in the training budget to accommodate this need. I am also requesting a larger gas and oil budget for youth summer camp field trips. Updating computers are necessary for the department's after-school program and summer STEAM program. The RCC AMN has agreed to purchase 2 desktop computers, and I am requesting the county to reduce the non-capital equipment budget so that the department can purchase 2 laptops also. 2 vehicles in the recreation department's fleet need to be replaced. The 2000 van donated by the New Bethel Missionary Baptist Church and the 2004 truck. I received a quote from the state vehicle contractor, Dollar Free Sale, and this quote totaled $67,952.60. Finally, let's take a look at the 5-year plan for the recreation department. I would like a title search completed to ensure ownership of all facility properties. Lights are needed for the outdoor courts and all-purpose field. An outdoor restroom and water fountain near the playground is also a necessity. The outdoor court restroom and water fountain are approximately 225 feet from the playground. I have received numerous complaints from parents who believe this distance is too far to send their child to the restroom unsupervised. Additional security at the center is required. Certain parts of the facility are not covered under current surveillance, leaving blind spots that should be addressed. Converting some offices to multi-purpose fields will better serve the needs of more sports organizations than the current softball field. Cleaning and painting of the interior gym was last completed 12 years ago, and I am nearing retirement and would like to plan for my replacement to take over within the next 5 years. Gentlemen, thank you so much for this opportunity to appear before you. Special thank you to staff members Courtney Rowe and Chad Owens for their assistance with this presentation. Their help was truly invaluable. I will now entertain any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Board?
One question on the bathroom, I didn't quite understand that because I couldn't hear, but there's on the 5-year plan, it's to add a bathroom, Mario?
Yes, we have a youth playground, which is at the far end of the complex, and the bathrooms that we currently have are on the south side, and they're quite a distance from the youth playground. So we need something right there. You know, a water fountain in those bathrooms, because the parents are complaining that it's about 75 yards from that playground to the bathrooms we have currently.
Now, with that addition of the request that you're making on changing temporary into a full, I didn't see nothing in the 5-year plan. Has there been talk about any expanded programs at the Fort White area or South Side area where we got other facilities available?
Yes, sir, very little. We have mentioned that. Fort White is really kind of being serviced by the city down there, the city of Fort White. They have their own recreation department, and they haven't expressed to us any needs to do anything outside that. But we do have two football teams in Fort White that we have here at the county rec department.
The city, who runs recreation for the city down there, Rocky?
I'm not aware of any recreation department at the town of Fort White.
It's not the department, it's the city of Fort White. The custodian or the recreation, not recreation guy, but the guy that does the fields and mowing, they pretty much handle recreation. So we practice down there, they do the mowing at the school, the old school, for the team to practice. That's what I consider recreation. They don't have an official rec department.
So you're talking about the Little League football team?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes,
We have a little league football team, but as far as all purpose practice field, the city does that for us. We don't take that down there for that field.
you're talking about for the baseball complex down there?
No, we have two football teams in Fort White, which serves approximately 60 kids. They practice at the old, school down there. I know,
Yeah, I think the school board maintains those fields.
I thought the city did that.
No, I don't think so. I think the school board does. Yeah, I don't think the town has anything to do with the recreation department. Yeah. Now Buster does some umpiring and stuff like that, but, and I think he might do some basketball, but we have that Rise Hoops program. No, that's from what I understand, that's a private organization doing that. So, I'll have to check into that, Mario. I don't know. I'm not familiar with anything the town of Fort White does with the sports program down there. So. But I would like to see maybe some expansion into Fort White. I think the community's growing down there that could benefit from some of this. I'd like to see us look into that.
That would utilize the gym if they game down there.
Yeah.
That's had anyone to step forward and want to coach basketball, so to speak. Because they have, two basketball programs, they have a high school program and a middle school program. And both those programs come with our age group.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Mr. Coffey.
Thank you, guys. Hey,
Thank you.
sorry, that's all.
We worked it out.
Okay, Commissioners, next is Donnie Dupree with the maintenance, facilities maintenance, and he just got here, so. Donnie?
Morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name's Donnie Dupree. I'm the Facilities and Maintenance Director. Appreciate the opportunity to present the budget for 2021. Are we ready? Okay. What is the mission statement for the maintenance department? Columbia County Facility Maintenance Department missions provide clean, safe, and comfortable facilities for county staff as well as the public who use county facilities for business, sports, and recreation activities. Facilities maintenance. I think I skipped one. We're on track. Okay. The services the maintenance department provides is we maintain and repair county facilities to the highest standards possible, inclusive of over 50 county buildings, which include fire department stations, courthouse, annex, libraries, extension offices, sheriff's offices, sports complex offices, ball field restrooms and concessions, communications tower facilities, and various other county facilities. Work functions for us are carpentry, electrical work, plumbing, HVAC, doors, locks, and hardware, repairs, and custodial services. The maintenance department is made up of 17 employees. There's one maintenance director, one maintenance field supervisor, 3 maintenance tech 3s, 1 maintenance tech 1, 1 HVAC specialist, 1 painter, 1 electrician, 1 carpenter, 1 field custodian supervisor, and 6 custodians. That's 6. Okay. All salaries and benefits are based on actual positions and current rates of pay. All budget request increases will be highlighted in yellow. Everything else is same as before. Here we go, we got the yellow. The total for the budget is $1,331,970. That was for 19 and 20. The request for 2021 is $1,366,518. The increases include salary increase for HVAC technician based upon the additional job responsibility of 24-hour monitoring of the chiller system at the courthouse and annex. He's also on 24-hour call to make repairs at fire stations and other buildings that are open 24/7. Increase in electricians is based on being unsuccessful at filling or filling the position due to low rate of pay. The increase in repairs and maintenance to cover the cost of software support for the entrance doors at the courthouse and the annex. The increase in office supplies is based on a year-to-date cost annualization. Equipment purchases are as follows based on the 10-year equipment replacement plan. There's 1 pickup needs to be replaced with a transit van. Replacement value on that van is $28,000. Repairs for the annex, everything's the same, $55,000. Sheriff's admin facility, there's a slight increase. Repairs and maintenance increase due to the aged building, issues with restroom fixtures, flooring, and lights, and additional funds for AC duct cleaning. Supervisor of elections facility, which is the Duval building. There's an increase from $142,500 to $143,700. And the reason is repairs and maintenance increased based on 1920 year-to-date repairs annualization and the age of the facility. There's issues with restroom fixtures and lights. The Welcome Center, the new extension office, 19 and 20 was budgeted $2,400. The increase for $4,400. The reason repairs and maintenance increased for a newly occupied facility. That facility is now occupied, so we'll have to do maintenance on that building now. Watertown budget remains the same at $19,000. In summarizing, the Budget, the grand total from 1920 was $1,595,370. The request for 2021 is $1,624,146. Budget request for the jail maintenance, once again highlighted in yellow. The total for 2019 and 20 was $429,665. Request for 2021 is $440,373. The reason repairs and maintenance increased based on repair issues with old AC units that will need to be replaced. Now, if I could add, the grand total is, for that budget, $429,665 in 19 and 20, $440,373 in 2021. Like I said, if I might add, the year budget for the jail for the year is based on strictly repairing parts of the jail that need to be fixed. There's nothing in it for upgrades, any of that. With past discussion of building a new jail and such as that, we felt it was in the best interest of the county to keep it going, and comfortable without spending a pile of money, redoing a lot of stuff, until such a time where there was a decision made to go change a lot of stuff up and spend a lot of money fixing stuff that wouldn't need to be fixed if they was going to build a new jail. So that's where we're at with that. The maintenance 5-year plan, considering the current age and condition of county facilities and the upgrades that will be needed in the near future to keep performance level of facilities, equipment, and employees, and assuming the future plans of new county facilities should become reality, the facility maintenance department will require additional staff and equipment. The requirements are going to be 2 maintenance technicians, 3 custodians, and 1 additional office staff. 5-year plan equipment needs will increase by $150,000 for replacement of a Bill Jacks Jenny lift or a man lift, a scissor lift, and 2 tool body trucks. And that concludes maintenance presentation.
Board? No questions. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Break.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Talking among ourselves and getting terminated.
I got you.
Breezing through this, baby. Where's home? Oh, that's a stroll.
Little bit of a stroll.
Yeah, the microphone.
We're not talking to anybody else. Listen to it.
I could have brought a soundboard that would play that. All they got to do is ask. I got stuff that will actually do that.
Yeah.
Go say.
I got one that can just Bluetooth into it and done it on his phone.
I used to have a speaker. Thing that couldn't work the other day. So how,
Oh, the contractors are, I think the electrician's gonna be done this week, and he'll have to come back once we get everything in there, the roof and the final lights, the bar and stuff, but, it's fixing to be on us. I'll be working there every day. It's fixing to be on us to get it done.
Okay.
Lunchtime, get too tired.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna be open at lunch or during the week yet. See how it goes. We're open.
So they ain't good cooking.
You can't call it a juke, it's a fine drinking establishment.
It was a fine drinking
We were
establishment.
kidding around the other day, so he has an office right next to it. Secret password there.
Commissioner office, I think, to us.
For having our meetings there.
Been working on it.
Give us a place on the bar where we can have our meetings there.
It's little.
Yeah, that,
Take a little,
It's cozy. It is cozy. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit smaller than that place we went to in, Washington.
Washington. Hey, I was gonna tell you,
Where the idea was born.
I got a bunch of antique stuff and stuff, like if you wanna hang something on the wall or anything, come look at all of it, you hang something on the wall.
Be like donated by Commissioner Rocky Ford.
or on loan.
On loan from Commissioner Rocky Ford. I've had, Chris Lighting. He's a historian with the Forest Service. They got one of those. And, he sent me all kind of old pictures. Now apparently there's a bunch of moonshiners in Raft, Bacon County around that time. There's not many pictures of Columbia County, but there's a bunch of them in Baker.
I can take you to a couple moonshiners in Columbia County.
Hey,
Is that a great idea?
when I was a boy, Ronnie Anderson had lived with about a mile from us, and he kept steel cooking all the time.
He was looking in the actual 30s at the pub.
Remember on Hurlong Road, when you used to take a left, we was in high school, go down that just piece of old oak tree, everybody pulled around out there. That's where we used to live on Saturday. Money to go to this stuff, and buy you beer, speedy weenies.
Yeah. That old Mr. Miller that lived over there off of Tussin, he was making it 20 years.
My family on my mom's side was a bunch of moonshiners. South Carolina, they moved down here.
There were several around
Well,
here.
I got an uncle who fed the prison in Tallahassee for it. Moonshine.
What Ronnie was.
Great. Yeah, they win.
Yeah.
They send them.
How do you pronounce your name again? Terrell. Sherrell. Did you tie Kevin's ties for him?
Gonna put on time for the night.
He is hooked up. He has got him a heck of a babysitter these days. I heard that, lady she replaced, she's the city clerk of Fort White now.
Really?
Oh, Darla?
Connie.
Huh?
Connie.
Oh, Connie. Yeah. Connie has done it for a while, yeah.
Well, she really wanted to get away from Kevin Kirk,
Well,
didn't she?
Well, her husband, her husband, they live down there. Her husband's the preacher at the Methodist Church here for a while. Yeah. Worked out good for her. She's, I think she's doing it like on a part-time basis.
What was that girl's name we met? Nathan Barry. She was supposed to come get the clerk.
I think she's still down there helping Connie. I ain't sure if she's still there or not. She was a real nervous acting girl. She got upset really.
Sherrell.
I couldn't remember her. Teresa, was it Teresa?
be honest about it. Gotta be honest.
And we are ready to go. Do we have our next presenter here?
I think everybody's here.
Hey, I know where she lives, just down the street from me, so I'll
Fire
fire away.
away. All right, we're gonna reconvene. Ben?
Chair, next we have Ed Lawrence. He's going to present the landfill and mosquito control budgets for you.
Thank you, Ben. Commissioners, Mr. Chair, here to present the landfill budget for 2021. Not a button guy. Solid Waste Department mission statement is to ensure that Columbia County has adequate disposal capacity in place to serve the citizens, businesses of Columbia County. Manage and dispose of the waste in a manner that ensures health and welfare, protection of the natural resources, meeting all state and local regulations while maintaining a sound fiscal management. Services provided is we do commercial residential solid waste disposal, household hazardous waste, recycling, and an annual community-wide toxic roundup. This year, that toxic roundup did not take place because of the COVID, and contractor that handles that called it off. So at this time, there's no plans to redo that this year. We'll just move on to next year, I believe. Landfill has 16 employees, a director, an assistant director, administrative secretary, secretary specialist, 1 mechanic, 2 operator 3s, 2 operator 2s, a litter control operator, equipment operator, 3 equipment operator 1, and 3 spotters. Revenues. Our revenues come from consolidated waste grant for litter cleanup, 90,000. Charges for services, class 1. Last year was 2,700,000. This year projected to be 2,640,000. Class 3, 760,000. This year it'll drop to 733,38. For total charges, the service there is 3,522,000 versus 3,421,000. Other income is miscellaneous, 16,000, and that's for recycling sales. This year our recycling will go up a little bit, 7,945, even with the drop. There's been a major drop in the prices of the products, but our volume is up a little bit. So we've added Fort White as a recycling location. We have 2 drop-off locations, one at the EMS across from the ball fields or from the fairgrounds, and the other one's in Fort White at the city yard. Okay. Interest is on the reserves money. That's what we make on interest. The 5% loss of revenue is a mandated requirement by the state of 5% of our revenues. Any questions? Salaries, we basically remain the same. You know, that'll be your decision when you approve the budget, what you're to do with employees. One of our increases is in office supplies, and that's through trending and annualization. Seems to be going up. Operating supplies is the same thing, it's trending up. Some of that is uniforms. Rental and leases, 1,500, general insurance, 22, repairs and maintenance, 200, remains the same. Other charges remain the same. Hazardous waste disposal will remain the same. Leachate disposal is going from 200 to 253. The reason for that is in November, we were notified by the city of Baldwin, we were contracted with through local agreement to take our leachate, and they notified us in November that they would no longer receive it because they have tied into the city of Jacksonville, and Jacksonville will not take any more leachate through their water treatment system. So through extensive research, we tried to locate alternatives. The only two we found were Lakeland and a company in Jacksonville that is a treatment plant, not a water treatment plant, but an industrial waste treatment plant, and they treat it. And that has caused our rate to go up about 9 cents per gallon. We were at 10 cents, 5 cents at the plant, 5 cents for hauling, give or take 100 on, round it up. So the new is 19 cents a gallon, okay? That's their charge. We are continuing to look for alternatives, but as of yet, we haven't found anything. Improvements other than building, you'll see $1 million there. And if you, that is a design and a bid for 2 storage tanks. Now, my understanding is that we're gonna, with the city, build a wastewater treatment plant. It's my recommendation that we place 2 storage tanks there, 80,000 gallons each, and trickle the leachate into the water treatment plant. In our research, talking with engineers, that's the most cost-effective way of handling leachate. They want the tanks there to trickle it in on a nice, even flow. Otherwise, we go there with a 6,000 gallon tank and they dump it in there immediately, and that puts some stress on the treatment plant. So the objective is to trickle it in slowly. In talking with, again, several engineers and many landfills throughout the state, the ones that own their own treatment plant all put it in their treatment plant. They're telling me the cost is 2 to 4 cents a gallon. So you would cut your cost, 12 to 14 cents a gallon by doing that. Okay, and we have spoke with JEA, who's doing the design on the project, and we're looking at, what that additional cost is. Now, I put the $1 million here because I'm not sure where that money's going to come from. I'm not sure if it's going to come from our reserve, if it's going to come as part of the treatment plant, but I wanted it here just in case.
Would
Okay?
you pump this leachate to the treatment plant? Is that how you would do it?
We
or
would,
you still haul it?
yes. There's no point in putting the tanks at the landfill, filling them up, and then still hauling them. You're better to haul it there, fill up a tank, and they can trickle it in at their pace. Nice and easy, and that's what most of the treatment, it'll handle it, if you don't dump 12,000 gallons on them in a day. And that is, right at this point, that is the preferred method. We've done a lot of research on handling at the landfill, other processes, evaporation. Gives us a little bit of problem with the end product. The residual can very possibly become toxic waste, and then it's very expensive to move that. So, is there any questions on that?
Commissioner, we are still in that all of there, so like there, we got tanks.
So the tanks would be at the treatment plant to dump it
Yes,
there.
they would.
That they would pump it into the plant at the rate they wanted to pump it in.
Yes.
Okay.
And being under
Yeah.
the design of that treatment plant, you all took that under consideration, right?
Yes, that's part of the, we've asked, he said JEA, that those are the ones that are designing it, and we've asked them to make sure that they look at this, how we can put those things.
And I would, they may look at it and say, you don't need that much. And if they do, then it'll be a little less. And I think that might be a possibility. So, the other thing is too, is we have a tank truck. Your hauling alone will drop real low. We can haul it there, or we can contract it to be hauled, whichever works out best. That's it on budget adjustments. Anybody have, and there's what we're looking at for the treatment, they're very expensive because they have to be glass lined and retained, just like you would petroleum. So it's treated as petroleum.
I didn't do the math, but the, approximately how many gallons a month did we produce?
They're 80,000 gallon each.
Okay, no, but the,
Huh?
how much?
Right, well, this year we're gonna do right at about 2 million. We've had a year that we've done 1.7 million. We've had drought years when we've only done 800. I think that these will more than suffice. And at 1.7 million, you're gonna see that the number 250 doesn't probably look real right, but we've also implemented a recirculation system. So we're pumping some back through the landfill to run through again, which lowers what we have to. We're doing everything we can to keep that down. So I believe that will improve it this year and we won't hit that 2 million gallon mark.
Then on the east side plant that we're under design, have they been in discussion with this issue?
Yes.
Is that, okay?
Central landfill. Oh, equipment purchase. I should go over that. We put in and it meets the criteria in the county policy for replacement of the 2003 bulldozer, 17 years old, and she gets to have major problems. It's right now been in the shop for 2 months trying to find out why we're putting oil in the radiator. And I don't think we ought to spend a lot of money on it. It's time. We have a 1992 recycling baler, 28 years old, is performing weekly, not doing good bales. And that affects the sale of your bales if you don't get good weight on them. I'm asking for that to be replaced. What's not on here is I have a John Deere excavator that is by county policy ready to replace. However, it's running good. It's been very low maintenance. I don't see the point in replacing it as long as it's doing well and not costing us maintenance money. We're gonna push that out a year or until we think it, maybe 2 years until we think. However, that being said, I have a 2014 skid steer that does not meet the county policy. However, that machine, being 6 years old, the dealer has spent $69,000 in repairs under warranty, has put 2 motors in it. Since it's gone off warranty, we have already spent $30,000. Okay, and I highly recommend that we be allowed to move that and replace it. When they start costing you that much money, the other thing is it's 2-3 months a year in the shop. You know, you have a piece of equipment that you're just not getting any productivity out. And when it's there, we use it every day. It's not something that sits around the park.
What brand skid steer is this?
Huh? It's a Volvo.
You guys are my place.
Okay, when I was first here, I went with low bid.
Yeah.
I would ask that I not have to do that again. Central landfill remains the same. A professional service, 50,000 is basically our well testing that we have to maintain. That should end in 3 or 4 years. We've already put in to close that, but we've got to do some well tests for 2 more years and then they'll let us close that and that will go away. Contractual services, the mowing, and DEP requires that you maintain it. Budget reserves. Basically, this is for post-closure, cash forward and contingency. Grants, the $185,000 is roadside mowing. We get a $90,000 grant for that, but the cost is at $185,000, and that's actually managed by Clint's group. But because it's litter, it comes through the solid waste department. So we get the grant and we budget it, and then Clint goes from there, manage it, and then we have to do a report every quarter, I believe it is, submit. Okay? closure cost is a mandate, and that's always based on your revenue, same with class 3. That's our cash balance forward. I just carry those every year. That's a financial audit that they'll do. And is that correct then? Closure cost? Yeah. And the totals are 127. The grand total for the landfill back 2020 was $4,062,317. We're requesting $4,849,000. $1 million of that are those tanks. So that's the 19% increase. Without those tanks, we'll be under budget. I think 3% under. But I just didn't want to leave those tanks out and get caught short. Our 5-year plan, design and bid for 2 leachate storage tanks, 80 capacity. That'll be next year. 21-22 design and planning, class 3, cell 5. Design and plan class 3 horizontal expansion with a leachate collection system. DEP has made it very clear that class 3 and C&D landfills after 2019 will be required to have a liner. And you will be required to collect a leachate. Another reason why we have that size of a storage tank, because that's going to be an added leachate that we're going to have to collect and process. The class 3 horizontal expansion permit has been submitted to DEP, and we'll probably be getting requests for additional information shortly. I'm planning by the end of this calendar year to have that, and we can high rise 20 more feet. Which kind of caught me by surprise. I didn't know that we would be able to do that on the class 3, but that's going to give us about 5 more years on class 3 before we have to go to that expansion. However, I would recommend we start that expansion process next year. 2023, our permit renewal and engineering cost, we have to renew our permit every 5 years. That's a $5 cost. Will apply for the construction permit for class 1 cell 5. The $5 million is the cost, estimated cost of putting the cell in. It is not the cost of applying for the permit.
That's total cost.
That's total cost complete. Okay, I just wanted everybody to know that down the road, that's coming. Same thing for class 3. We're going to do a horizontal expansion. That's up there almost as high as the class 1. It's a little lower, primarily a little less yardage, but you only need a single liner. You don't need a dual liner. So that will save us a little bit of money. And again, that's the total cost. That's not applying for the permit. Okay, the permit application is probably about $100,000. And we'll have to add an additional leachate basin due to the added volume, possibly cell 5 and class 3 horizontal expansion. An added basin will be $1 million. Okay. However, that being said, with these addition of the tanks, there's a very good possibility that we will not have to do that. If we can show that we can maintain that volume, we may not have to add that leachate basin. We can do it with the basin we have. Any questions?
So-
On the permit, I mean, the monitoring, that's monitoring on the old landfill, right?
Yes.
And I think sometime back, we bought a piece of property to put a new well on,
Yes.
and we still,
And that's the one that we have to test that well for 2 years. If it shows no contamination, we can close the old central.
Yeah.
So there'll be no more maintenance, no more well testing, other than the mowing. That engineering cost will go away.
and we haven't found any contamination in the monitoring.
Not that well.
Yeah.
We have one that's right on the property line. So we went out, we bought that 200 yards out. And right now, there's been no
Well,
contamination.
that's the only hot spot we have, and we know why we got that one on that. We used to do a septic tank.
If
truck
that
through the
well,
dump there.
I will tell you in the recommendation, if that well does start showing contamination, I would dig that landfill from the road toward the highway, get it out of there.
Yeah.
And then that goes away.
Yeah.
That's my record. I don't know how deep it is. I'm not familiar with it. They could drill it and test it, because that's the only way you're gonna stop it, other than, other than putting in a very expensive slurry board. So, but I don't think we're gonna have a problem, to be honest.
So if I'm reading this right, if you back the reserves and and the grants out of this, your actual operating budget is 3.4 million, and your actual revenue you're going to take in is 3.6. So even with the tanks, you're actually taking in everything you need to run the landfill
Yes.
and build those tanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's restricted funds. That can only be used out there, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
The C&D rates, over at the regional, what do they call this, that other landfill over by Stark or something, what's the name of that one?
Oh, New River,
New
the
River.
New River Regional?
Is our C&D and their C&D, rates compatible?
I believe they are, yes. I want to say that they're at about 29 or 32, depending on what's in the load. I will tell you that our class 3 revenue's down. I believe I know what's happening there, but
Me
I'm
too.
not sure is the best way to look at it.
I also agree.
Huh?
I know it's happening there also.
Well, and I don't, I don't know if you want to take that on.
And we need to correct it.
I don't disagree.
Yes, sir. And we're gonna have a discussion about that too.
And that started about 2 years ago. It started. What it is we charge by the ton, okay? There's a landfill in Live Oak that charges by the load. So I get all the light loads. If they get over 5 tons, they'd rather take them out there because they pay the same rate, whether it's 10 tons or 5 tons or 3 tons. But they bring the other stuff to me because it's cheaper by a ton if it's a low cost.
And we have a flow control order,
And
what's
we have a
generated
flow-
in this county should be disposed in this county, and it's not happening, and we're losing money.
So,
All the container services, and he's right. If it's a heavy load, they hit the interstate and go to Live Oak, Swanee County. And take that load. A medium weight load, they'll bring it to the landfill. And that shouldn't be. They'll define our own ordinance.
that is it for the landfill budget. Any questions?
And that dozer is a cab, enclosed cab, I'm sure, right? That dozer.
Yes. Yeah, all of our stuff these days are enclosed with the dust and the, I never had it enclosed. Okay, mosquito control. Provides integrated pest management for mosquito reduction around homes and neighborhoods to reduce the risk of mosquito-borne diseases. Department provides services utilizing the most effective techniques available and is accomplished by eliminating mosquito breeding sites during the season that runs from May to October. Our services, we do adult mosquito collection traps that are placed in areas to gain the population density and the species to determine the most appropriate means. Those are counted and looked at by Florida Department of Ag. And they will tell us the number and if we have a problem mosquito. Visual inspections of the larvae in places that will breed mosquitoes and determine what's required to treat the type of water. Some water that if it goes into rivers and we can't treat. We could treat standing water on private property. We treat retention ponds. And if we're having a lot of rain, we will treat the dishes. At present, we're using a tablet that lasts for 6 months. The advantage to the tablets is if it goes dry, they sit there. When the water comes back, they activate again. So Adulticide, we spray, mounted ULV units equipped with chemicals to kill adult mosquitoes. And larviciding, again, we do a chemical treatment for the larvae, applying chemicals to ditches, swales, ponds, treatment of ponds and small bodies of water, man-made ponds. If we get a call from a resident, we will provide that to them, and we give them the directions to place it, and because a lot of them don't want us on their property. I prefer not to go on their property, really, so.
So if somebody has a man-made pond, they can call y'all will
Sure.
provide them the stuff?
Sure. Well, yes, and I've visited many of those, and there's no mosquito larvae, but because they have a pond, they think there's mosquitoes, so that's where I'll use the granular, just because there's really nothing to kill there. You can look at it, we scoop, but we do it anyway, just, there's no sense in getting into an argument over, a couple bucks worth of. That department has one director, an assistant director, and we have 6 mosquito control operators. Right now, we are down to 4. 1 through health reasons, well, actually 2 through health reasons, couldn't make it this year. We aren't getting any applications. However, we haven't started spraying yet. We haven't gotten a lot of calls. They don't seem to be bad. If I hear different, we'll fire them up and do what we can with what we have. We take last year 6,928 phone calls that people want their property sprayed. If they are less than 300 feet from the road, we won't go on their property. If they're more than 300 feet, we'll go up their driveway. Because the spray is a 300-foot wide swath. So we look at it on the appraiser's map, and we'll call and tell them, yeah, we'll do it, or sorry, we can't do that. We can't go up every driveway. We have them calling, they want us to wait for them to come out and open the gate. You can honk and call, and they don't come. So the budget, salaries run about $30,000 a year, taxes and all that remain the same. Our travel is for, we have to keep up our CEUs. As a director and as managers, we have to be licensed to do that. Our drivers don't, but we do. Communications, repairs and maintenance stay the same. Another thing, and I believe you're familiar with this. So this is the local budget. We have 2 budgets, local and state. We get a $30,000 grant from the state. So it used to be that we just take that $30,000. If we were getting a truck, we'd buy a truck and a sprayer. The state says, no, that's not how it needs to be done. You have to do every line item. You got to split it just like you split yours. So this year is the local. This year, I am requesting 2 vehicles. We have 2 compact trucks that they meet the policy. And to be quite honest with you, the new sprayers and the machines are just so heavy that these little small Chevy Canyon trucks their bumpers are dragging. They're just wore out. They just don't handle. So we've been buying full-size trucks that just handles the sprayer better. And these 2 do fall. One's a 2006 and one's a 2007. They both meet, and we're requesting 1 fogger. That belongs to one of these trucks, and it's a 2003. It's been a good fogger, so we didn't replace it. We passed it on as long as it was doing good, but last year, the motor gave us some real serious problems. So we've worked on it, can't seem to keep it running right. So we're asking for that to be replaced. And that's the trucks. The sprayer will be replaced by the state budget. Any questions? Again, you get to the state budget, they pay a portion of just about everything. Chemicals went up in the state, but it went down in ours. You have to match their budget, so we had to move some money. That's basically all we did was move a little money. So, other than the grand total, 127.45 to 168. Again, 2 trucks and a sprayer. is the increase. Any further questions?
Board?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
I appreciate you looking at that
Five-year
leachate
plans
problem.
to just continue with the service. I will tell you that if we continue to get the number of calls that we're getting, we're gonna probably have to add a route in the next year or two. It's just, 6,000 calls. You gotta understand, those people wanna be sprayed every week. So besides the roads that we do regular, we hit those 600 homes, that's 6,000 homes. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move into public comment. 2 minutes. Anybody got anything? Okay, now staff. Ben, you got anything?
Commissioners, this was our last scheduled workshop. And as you know, I'm waiting on revenues to see what revenues are going to look like. I actually went and looked at this morning before I came to see if they posted I told you the first month that really is going to hit is going to be posted this month, and they still haven't posted anything yet. So I will have my meetings with my staff. It's very similar to what they just did with you guys. And what I will do is I'll sit and we will, like Kevin said earlier, look, this is what he knows his wish list is. This is not going to be the final product that's brought before you. When I prepare the floor budget, we'll bring you, here's what we think we can live with. But we'll go ahead and work on those expenses first. I always work on the expenses first, then the revenues later. If the revenues don't meet what we need in the expenses, then we go back and start figuring out where we got to cut it. But my theory is budget what you need. Don't find you've got some extra revenues and now increase budgets. Let's put our budgets to what we really need and then figure out if the revenues will work or not. Any direction y'all want me to look at while you basically know where we're at. We're looking at a difficult year next year based on what the revenue estimates are right now. And we're just going to work at it and see if we can make it happen.
Ben, it's going to be very important that once we get our estimates, they'll do a trend. I like to be optimistic. I like for the glass to be half full and half empty. But yesterday, there was more reported cases of the virus in people than it been at any time. And it all because we are opening back up. If this virus get to where it's starting to lean towards like it was the last past couple, 3 months, everything gonna shut down again. So we're gonna have to be cautious. And, we look at all these budget requests, but you haven't received any budget requests from the Constitution officers yet. It's not time for them to present them. And if this thing get down to where we don't have the money, we just don't have the money. It's just that simple. Washington's not going to give us any money.
Yes, sir. I had a citizen yesterday come in and said that he knew we were going to have a difficult budget. He knew we couldn't print money like Washington can.
Yeah. We can't do it. So it's one of those things that it might end up being a hen tooth pulley. But you can only do what you can do.
I agree with Commissioner Williams' caution. The numbers of cases are going up. The testing is also going up. I think the number to look at really is a percentage of those being tested that test positive. I think that trend's down, and let's hope that trend stays down. But I do agree, let's be cautious because we just don't know. And this is not a typical year. I would not, I really aren't concerned about the revenues per se, as far as what that number is. I am concerned they're going to be down, but this is not a typical year. My take on the budget this year is for every department head to live with what they can live with. And, we may, just because we replaced all this equipment last year. It's in the plan. If you can make something last another year, make it last another year. I am interested in doing some type of tax relief, because I think it's the right thing to do. We still have a public, regardless of what the revenues say when they come in, we've got business owners and taxpayers who have suffered through this. So this is not a typical budget year and not a typical budget process to me. We need to stay lean and make do with what we can make do as far as salary and as far as equipment to make this a lower budget than last year. Then that's my personal opinion.
And we know we're gonna have a big increase in health insurance. I mean, that's a given. It's gonna be 8% or more. It's always somewhere around in that about. So just trying to hold health insurance where we can give our employees health insurance gonna be a big lick right there.
Speaking of health insurance, where are we at on that, Ben?
Well, I'm glad Commissioner brought that up. We have received the proposals, and if the board would, I would like to schedule a workshop before our next board meeting. We have the proposals ready, and what I'd like to do is do a joint workshop with the insurance committee and the Board of County Commissioners. Normally what we do is the insurance committee reviews it. They bring the recommendation to the board. Basically, the board has said they accept the recommendation. But if I could get the insurance committee in here with you guys at what I would suggest is a 4:00 workshop before the next board meeting, if we could do that.
I 100% agree with that.
I like it too. Let's do it.
Do it.
I've been wanting to find out some information on where we at on it anyway.
We've got it just about ready to present, so we'll have it ready by the next board meeting, so we can do a workshop.
Now, when you get your final budget, I like the 4 previous years' budgeted expenses, like I normally get. You understand what I'm saying? So I can have a worksheet.
Yep, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll provide that worksheet for you.
So workshop June 4th at 4:00?
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Anything else?
The insurance.
Motion to adjourn.
No.
Let's get out of here. We're adjourned.
Hey, Jack, don't come in here and be timed up while people talk. What's up with that?
Swish, where you going?
I was paying attention to y'all.
I'm going to check on my
Do
worker.
you still go to work? Ain't y'all working from home or something right now?
Something like that.
Your own life.